So today I'm going to speak about pre-registration and registered reports. This is the session provided under University of Bristol's Open Research Policy and UKRN. The objectives of this session is to understand the rationale behind pre-registration and registered reports. We will also learn what are the differences between both of them, and we will try to understand how to include the information required for the respective fields. Also, we will discover the tools that are currently available to implement pre-registration and registered reports. So before moving on, I would like to have a small interactive session where I would like to know how many of you have been exposed to pre-registration and registered reports. Let me just initiate this poll. So yes, if you would quickly like to join the poll and uh, uh, add your responses for that, it would be uh, very helpful. Also, feel free to pop any messages in the chat whilst the session is going on. Okay, so we have more than 50% of attendees who have never heard of it, and we have some of them that 33% have some idea, and around 17% who have already used it. So I will carry on with the rest of the session as and try to explain pre-registration and registered reports in detail. So what problem are we trying to solve with this is to identify and resolve the reproducibility crisis. So one of the research that I came across suggested that more than 50% of researchers find that yes, there is a reproducibility crisis, and along with that, we they also found out the different causes for this. So we'll try to go over them in a very short span, and then we will see how pre-registration and registered reports help us resolving this reproducibility crisis. So the first issue that uh, that was found while publishing the research is selective reporting. So in what is selective reporting? In selective reporting, the results are reported in such a manner that the undesirable or negative results are hidden, or they are skewed in such a way that the result and the conclusion turns out to be a positive one. The next one is pressure publishing. So in pressure publishing, it can be due to multiple various factors, like a researcher might feel that if he doesn't publish a certain quantity of research papers in a year, then his employment might be at risk, or there is some kind of a competition in the research field, and therefore the researcher might feel like he needs to publish more in order to be ahead in that race. The third issue identified was low statistical power or no power analysis. So usually in this kind of issue, the data that has been uh, used to analyze is very less, and it might lead to give give a result which might not be a true effect, and it might be deemed as not a significant result. Insufficient peer review. So what we mean by this is that some the peers might think that they are they don't have time to review because of the other workloads, or they might not feel more encouraged because this particular their reviews is not something that's been acknowledged in the world, and this might lead to low transparency in the research that has been done. It might lead to publishing only positive results or biased results. The another issue identified was insufficient raw data. So more than 33% of the people who responded to the one of the user study in life sciences found out that uh, the results that were were generated from a skewed data, and there is not enough of insufficient, like there is not enough raw data to support that particular result or particular research. Uh, Another issue is poor experimental design. So, according to this, if a particular methodology is not robust and it is not complete, like it does not cover all the aspects that it should have been covering in the hypothesis of that particular research, it might lead to generating results which are not truly addressing the research question, and this might turn into a very biased result and inconclusive uh, research. Now, another issue that was identified is insufficient oversight or mentoring. So, the job of a mentor is to guide the researcher in a very holistic way. He might know the nuances that are required to be covered in order to get a significant result. But if there is lack of mentoring or lack of oversight management in that particular research, it might also lead to generating false results, uh, mm, or it might also threaten the integrity of the research, because the researcher might not feel obliged to delivering what he had initially planned. And so, what is the solution for all of these issues? It is pre-registration and registered reports. So, in pre-registration and registered reports, in order to identify its significance, the user study that I referenced was from this particular paper, where it found that in the fields of chemistry, biology, and physics, there is a lot of failure in reproducing the research that was published, and considerably you can see the aspects that are affecting this reproducibility crisis, which are the issues that we discussed prior, in which selective reporting and pressure to publish top the charts, where more than 60% of them feel this might be the major issues that are affecting the reproducibility of the particular experiment. So, what is pre-registration and what is registered reports? So, pre-registration is an open research practice, whereas registered reports is publishing uh, publishing method. So in pre-registration, what we do is like we have a detailed plan. Whatever we have like written in our detailed plan, we will put it in one of the open research repositories. This will be a public repository, but you can also apply an embargo on when to make that repository public. This leads to research transparency because you have put in your detailed plan. It has got timestamped, and that plan is available for everyone to see. So that will make the researcher to produce the results more transparently. And this is done before the study begins. Now, there are some cases where you might have to uh, change the earlier plan that you have made. Now, that is also available in pre-registration to do, and you can uh, possibly mention it, like what are the changes that are you going to do for than what you had initially planned. This is to give more clarity uh, on why the things have been changed, and it won't be considered as a change of plan to result to get some more skewed results or unwanted results. Now, let's see what is the registered reports. So, registered reports are is a two-step stage process where you will, like pre-registration, you will send out your initial plan. It will get peer reviewed, and then you will start following the steps that you have mentioned. It is an extension of pre-registration because you can pre-register your study, uh, and then you can also link that pre-registration for a registered report. Now, registered reports ensure that high scientific standards are followed because it's a peer reviewed, and you will be getting a review which will help you to make the changes. And also, once you get a provisional acceptance in registered reports, you are it is a it is then 100% sure that your research will get published, and it is and the results are independent of acceptance. So you might get positive result, you might get null results, or you might get negative results, but irrespective of the results that you get, it is and if it has got an acceptance, it will get published. So let's briefly look at the steps in pre-registration. So the initial step is where you define your research question, your hypothesis, and you develop a study plan according to it. Once you have a study plan, you will choose a platform. So there are various platforms available, and I will uh, briefly show you those platforms where you can register your study plan. Once you have registered your study plan on one of those platforms, it will get time stamped, which means that anyone who is kind looking to do similar kind of study, they will be able to see that such and such study has been time stamped on an open research platform, and they and it's a good reference point for everyone who is going to do similar kind of study. You can then request to register your study and document any deviations. So once you have documented any deviations from after the request, also you are able to document any deviations like I mentioned before, and then it will go for a peer review, and upon the acceptance from a peer review, it will be then published in that particular open research platform. It won't be published in a journal, it will be published on that open research platform, and I will show you the examples of them also. So these are some of the platforms that allow us to do pre-registration, and one such platform is OSF. I will quickly show you the steps involved in doing pre-registration on OSF platform, but you can do the pre-registration in any of the available platforms online. Okay. I hope you are able to see the window for of the OSF dashboard. Okay. So like you can see, you will have to first register on the OSF platform. If you have not registered, you can do it by your institutional login or using your ORC ID or having a personal email ID. Once you have registered, then you can uh, come to this platform OSF home, and you can select OSF registries, or directly you can select to create a new project. So I've created one sample project initially. So once you create a new project and add all the details required to it, it has various components associated with that particular research. So you can add the wiki that might be required to understand your study. You can add the files or data that you are using for that particular study, and then you can go to the registrations tab and look at the uh, once you are identified as an administrator of the project, you can click on new registration over here, and you can select multiple templates that are available. It can be an open-ended template also. So in open-ended template, it's just a uh, small process where you have a title and you will describe your study in the text box. Whereas this OSF pre-registration template is also available. I will quickly take you through all of those. So yeah. So now the very first step is registration process, where you can register your particular research title and add the description associated with it. You can add multiple contributors for that particular research, and you can assign them a role. Select different licenses that are available to that particular research. Add the year and copyright holders. And finally, over here, you can search for subjects in which your particular research is from the field that your research belongs, and you can add that. It can be multiple. If it's a cross-domain project, then you can add multiple subjects over here and add some tags associated with that project. So this is just in the first step, you will create the metadata that is related to your particular research. I won't be adding all the details because it will takes a lot of time. Now, this is the place where you will add your hypothesis, your research question, and then move on to a design plan. Now, in design plan, you can select different study types that are available. Like it can be an experimental study, it can be an observational study, it can be analysis or a review of the published studies, or you can also select other options and carry on. And these are just other options that OSF template provides you to add associate with your pre-registration. Now this is the block where you can add your study design, your methodology, your plan been uh, that has been decided, and you can also add the files that associated to it. It can be a simple Word file, or it can be a Gantt chart where you have timelines and all the plans that are associated with it. Now, in this place, you will be dealing with the data that has been required for your particular study. You will mention like you are registering before creating a data, or you can basically select the option stating that at which stage of research you are, and at when are you registering it. If you have registered, are you registering it before or after the capturing of data or doing analysis of it. You can also provide some explanation associated to that data, and you and mention the data collection procedure. So you can see all of them are marked with a red asterisk. So these are compulsory steps which binds the researcher to add those details that are required, and in future he can come and make these changes which will also be reflected. Now, a lot of studies will have variables, so you can mention the dependent and independent variables of that research study, and you can also define like how you are planning to interact with the various variables of your research. Once you have mentioned that, then you can mention the analysis plan for the particular, like how you are going to analyze the particular data that has been collected. You can uh, mention different models, like these are some of the models that have been used in data analysis. So you can mention them, you can explore more about it. And it's a simple text box, so it allows you to add it in the form that you want. And you can also add a file as a analysis plan. You might have a Excel file or Word file or any text file. You can just add that in as a part of your analysis plan. Now there are more criterias which are not mandatory over here, but it is also good practice to add them. Is like what are the criterias that you have been uh, deciding to use on your in your analysis? Have you excluded any data? Are you missing any data? So you can also include them. And finally, if there is any additional information which is out of the scope that has been previously mentioned, then you can add it over here. And then once you click on review, it will be then sent for a peer review. And upon confirmation or upon some review that has suggested you changes and you make those changes, it is ready to be published on the OSF platform. So this was just a small overview of how to do a pre-registration on OSF platform. And like I showed you the OSF platform, you can go to all of these registered places and add your pre-registration. So I will quickly look at the chat window if there are any questions, and then I will start covering the registered report section. Okay, so we don't have any questions in the chat. So yeah, I will assume that the information that I've provided until now was clear, and I will move on to the next session. Section is registered reports. So registered reports are, you can directly send your studies for registered reports, or you can do pre-registration and link that pre-registration with your next phase. So over here, uh, what you will do is like you will submit an initial proposal. Now, most of the time, if you have done pre-registration, then that step is covered. But this propose that will be then sent for a peer review. Like this, at this phase, your study is kind of uh, in it's kind of in a very solid format. Like you are going to do this, and you will send it for a peer review. Once you get an acceptance from in this phase, you will then it will then like publish the accepted plan, and it is then ready to do the execution. So like you can start your experimentation phase. Now once you have completed your executions and you have your results and discussions available, what you will do is like you will then submit again your results and discussions for a peer review. And at this stage, the peers will compare your results, discussions with the data, and all the details that you have provided in the earlier phase. And they will look for the deviations, and if there are deviations, you will be asked for the reasons of it. But it's uh, more of a collaborative process over here. And once you get a final peer review, then it is ready for a publication. So if the peer review is accepted, then your research is going to get published in the journal that you have uh, des that you think of it, like that you have decided. So now this is a journey of registered reports. So after 2019, more than 200 journals have recognized registered reports, and they have added a section where if the registered reports are peer reviewed and accepted, the journals will publish them in their in their particular uh, publishing year. So you can see initially in 2013 there was around three uh, three uh, three publishers that have accepted register reports. But after 2019 and after especially after 2020, we have seen a rise in recognition of registered reports in across various journals. So what are the final steps that you require to do in your register reports is that you have to link your pre-registration or your stage one reports. You have to list all the pre-registered hypotheses and report the results accordingly. And also you have to distinguish between planned and unplanned analysis if there has been a situation that has arisen, like uh, that has forced you to do some unplanned analysis. Now, in this process, pre-registration won't bind you to your plans, but it is just a place where it is recorded that the particular research is going to be uh, conducted in such a manner, in such a steps and plannings. And because if there are deviations, researchers will report those deviations. It kind of creates a transparent scenario where the deviations are also clearly tracked. Now, in reporting deviations, you can include a section called title changes to the planned study or something like that in the previous template that I've shared. And then you can describe different kinds of problems that you have faced. Was there any sampling issue, or you can also list your deviations for your pre-registered research. So I hope you have got an idea about pre-registration and registered reports. And I've just added another interactive slide where you can list the pros of pre-registration and registered reports according to you. And I will wait for you to join them and enter your enter your views on it. So yeah. Okay, so we have got few responses which says that it has planned analysis, it increases the reproducibility and also the transparency. Uh, I will wait for few others to join. I can only see one participant. Yeah, feel free to join the poll and add your responses to it. Yes, definitely. It also strengthens the scientific rigor. Yeah, and like I said, the issues that identified also threaten the integrity of the research. So it is definitely addressing that particular uh, point. Okay, so these were the pros of pre-registration and registered reports, according echo that you have identified. We will also look at cons. Oh, yes, we have one more response, which is peer reviewed. Yes, definitely peer reviewing helps, and it addresses the issue of lack of peer review and mentorship, which is essential in guiding the research. Yes. Okay, so let's move on to next poll, and you can keep on adding your responses to this also. S- So the next poll is, what are the cons that you feel of pre-registration and registered reports, and we will try to address them also. So I think so you can scan the QR code or add the ID and join this poll also. Okay, so the two of the most identified cons here we can see is time consuming and lengthy form. And it might also say that it's not affiliated with traditional publishers. But with the recent data, I can say that most of the major publishers have identified this registered reports as their publishing. They have recognized it. Initially, it might seem that pre-registration and registered reports are time-consuming or they are lengthy form, but I would like to uh, like focus on one point is that the template that I showed might feel to be more rigorous and more lengthy, but you can have an open-ended form of pre-registration also where it won't be much of a time consuming for you because you will already have the data or you have already have some kind of a basic research plan that you had used for submitting the proposal initially for the research or the research topic. So you can just use that as a guiding form to enter your details. Whereas in case of register reports, because there are two peer reviews involved, it might be looking as a time consuming, but we don't have lots of data which can help us like get a final decision on whether it's time consuming or not. But yeah, it one of the major advantage of it is basically what we discuss is that it gets peer reviewed and it also increases the integrity of the research. So yes, it might seem time consuming, but we'll have to wait for few more years of data on registered reports, and then we can definitely have we will definitely have some kind of a research indicating whether it was found to be time consuming or it was a very fast process. So now finally we will move on to summarizing both of them. So when do we do pre-registration? So pre-registration is done before the data collection, and register reports is done before data collection, but along with that, it gives us the surety of journal submission. Peer review, in pre-registration, there is no peer review for data collection, whereas in registered reports, it because it happens before the study begins, it kind of has like the peers will be going through your plan, where it uh, where it reviews your uh, data collection process also. Flexibility, uh, pre-registrations are more flexible. Like I said, it can be done in any format, whereas registered reports are less flexible uh, in in terms of saying like if doing any changes to your plan, because in registered reports you have committed to a certain design of your study, and it is expected that you will be following that. But yes, obviously, like I said, you can mention your deviations clearly when it comes to your second peer reviewing. Complexity, yes, pre-registrations are less time consuming than registered reports, only because there is one peer review. Whereas in terms of like time consumption, like I said, there is not much of data available or research done on the impact of registered reports in when it is considered for time. So yeah, we will have to wait for a few more years, and then we can definitely have some say on it. Now, pre-registrations, why we do? We are focused on increasing the transparency, and we also want to reduce the uh, ad hoc changes that are done. Whereas register reports are focusing on validating your designs. So this is like because once the study design has been validated, it gives surety to the researchers also that like the plan is solid and they can move on to the actual execution. Now, pre-registration, because it allows us to do some changes, it has some risk of bias, whereas in registered reports, the bias is minimized because of the two peer reviewing processes and mainly the peer review of your methodology. Pre-registration helps reducing bias, but it won't guarantee you that the pre-registration is going to get published. However, the registered reports will help reduce you the publication bias, and it is pre-approved, so your study or your research will be published in the journal. So each funder, institution, or publishers will have their own policies related to pre-registration and registered reports. One such example is the University of Bristol's pre-registration policy. So you can feel free to go to the link and go through the policy of University Bristol's related to pre-registration and registered reports. There are also funding opportunities for registered reports, and one such example is with Cancer Research UK, where if your topic is from the predetermined topics of Cancer Research UK and your study gets accepted for that particular funding, then it will be also funded to do a registered report, which is ultimately guaranteed for your publication. So with this, we have come to end of our research, our today's session, and I think we are within time. I would kindly like you to quickly take some time, scan the QR, and add your feedback. And within 2 to 3 minutes of time, we will be open for answering the questions that you might have had.